Hokusono is logged in, bro. He's watching.
Oh, he 100%, man. But I know he is.
Alan's in the community. I'm telling you, he
I'm in his
knows.
DMs. I'm in his DMs. He knows. He's
in
giving
the
me all the
walls.
secrets.
He's in the walls, man. Fucking walls.
Right. So we're gonna start off with the world famous Tiberius, and I am. Let me know, and I will start a completely organized 5 minutes timer, and see how that goes.
Start looking at your phone.
Yep.
Yeah, all right, I'll start now. So the Rakuhiro reunion theory. We all know like Hokuzono is heavily influenced by Naruto, and seeing as Chihiro's going down a path that doesn't seem to like have a happy ending for him as an individual, I can see Hokuzono giving Chihiro a new lease on life as well as rounding out his character by allowing him to see and speak to Kunishige one last time. Just as Minato and Kushina appeared when Naruto needed them the most, Kunishige will appear in Chihiro's mental state when he fully syncs with the Enten and alters its true round for the last time to basically realize the vision Kunishige had when forging it, destroying the Magatsumi. Chihiro will see Kunishige as the same person he was in Chapter 1, a goofy dad. You know, he won't see him as a warmonger or anything of the sorts. He can now look his father in the face and tell him that he's sorry he had to carry that burden that entire time, but also thanks him for not allowing the guilt from his past to change him as a father. With each of his final swings, Chihiro will get like a heartfelt sentiment or affirmation from Kunishige, and with the final swing, Kunishige will tell Chihiro, "I'm proud of you, but now look towards the future. I love you, son, and oh yeah, don't worry, Shiba's down here with me, he says hi." So, and we know there won't be too many opportunities for Chihiro to smile, like throughout the story. I mean, recently we just got to see Chihiro like truly smile as he reunited Yori and her father. This time we'll see Chihiro smiling from the bottom of his heart as he gets closure with his father, and as Kunishige fades away, we'll see the Magatsumi break. That's my theory.
I see. Okay.
I love that you put Shiba in hell. I
yeah,
love that.
Shiba going straight onto hell.
Shiba's down YouTube, by the way.
What he gets for being late all the time.
Yeah.
Honestly. Dude needs better time management.
And being late to sin.
It is crazy that, yeah, I mean, realistically, a lot of people probably have been hurt because Shiba's just not around. This guy's not doing anything useful. But to be fair,
greatest sin is absence.
I do appreciate though.
In terms of being a support teleporter, he probably is actually the worst at it. He's quite literally saved no one.
Yeah, at a certain point, you got to wonder how long is that charge up time on that TP. Like, brother, we see him use it like once every 30 chapters or some shit.
Yeah. Koto puts up way better numbers than him.
You trying to suggest my ghost
He saved
fraud?
Chihiro twice.
Nothing of the sort, Alonso. I would never.
Chill.
I would
All
never.
right.
I would never, brother.
Anyway,
maybe just a finesser.
Screw Shiba. I was not expecting something that well written. I can't like kind of makes what I'm gonna say look a little bit
like poke holes in that. It was so well done.
Like,
I was just saying, no, there's like no holes I can poke in that. It's just a very solid interpretation of what the ending of the story could be. So I don't really got, and like we do know, like if you look at the Hishaku and you compare them to like the Akatsuki, there's like at least like 5 references there. So I do think the Naruto inspiration is something you could look into to predict future events in the story.
yeah, I was gonna say I love the Minato
yeah,
comparison. It's dope.
I feel like I've always seen more of a Bleach inspiration in this story than I have Naruto. Maybe it's because it's been so long since I read Naruto, but every time I see the swords and we're talking about the True Realms, I think that that's more leaning towards like the realm of like Bonkai and stuff like that. Like there was that arc in Bleach where there was the Zanpakuto arc where all of the wielders came face to face with like the innate manifestations of their swords, and I feel like that's something that we might see with like these swords, and that's kind of why I always feel like it's always like a Bleach inspiration, and especially just like the black and white like panels. Like do you get a lot of black and white panels where there's like the sort of like no backgrounds or like it's like whiteout sort of similar to Bleach? Reminds me a lot more of Bleach than it does.
Alonso scares me sometimes, bro.
If I had to say, it almost feels like more like the villains are more closer to Naruto's, but then like the heroes, or at least the people on considered the good side of the story, seem to have a lot of Bleach inspiration. Like the Kaminabi elites literally wear captain robes.
Yeah,
you can see the inspiration right there.
Yeah, and the Hishaku remind me heavily of the Akatsuki. Yeah. I know a lot of people in my community have said Yor reminds me of Pain as well.
Because they literally are the Akatsuki.
Literally has a run gun.
Yeah, literally Akatsuki.
I was going more the direction of like his editor, Hokuzono's editor, came out and said like Naruto is the reason why he became a manga artist. More along so that influence on Hokuzono, but like obviously with the Kushina and Minato, as well as like, I mean the pain invasion with Hishaku teleport into the barrier in the Kaminabi headquarters. It's literally just the pain invasion spread.
True.
True. I never thought about it that way. I definitely like what you're saying, Weeb, because like I definitely agree with you. I feel like the swords and the enchanted blades definitely have like some kind of Bleach inspiration for sure.
Yeah.
I've definitely felt that for sure, and you're one of the. I haven't heard that before, so I agree with you completely on that.
I've got like this feeling like at some point they're gonna have like their own little personalities as well, because it's the way like some of the swords sort of form to the wielders like. What's the word? Wants and needs, essentially. Like, for example, the fucking Magatsumi form to the Swordmaster's needs. And it's like, I imagine, like, that's the sword that's quote-unquote different. So, like, what was different about that sword in comparison to these other swords? So, like, I always imagine them as, like, these, like, unruly kids that just haven't been, like... They haven't found, like, the right person to guide them down the right path. Because, like, even Chihiro spoke to Cloud Gouger during the Rakuzaichi, do you know what I mean? It's like he was communicating with it. Yeah. It was communicating with him. So I imagine at some point down the line, we might get, like, similar to how we had Sojo and Chihiro in that little, like, subspace where they were talking while they were cutting each other to pieces. I imagine that these swords all have their own, like, sort of innate, like, manifestations and personalities, and they differ depending on the user.
Yeah. I definitely think so, and that would kind of like flow right directly into like what Tiberius is kind of saying, right? Because then, like, let's say that spirit ends up being like the last kind of fragment of like maybe like Rokuhira's like soul or something like that, and that's how that kind of scene can even happen in the first place when Chihiro reaches like the utmost possible true realm or whatever you want to call it that you possibly can. It's interesting
to tag into Tiberius's theory as well. Like, when you see Kunishige dying. The three things that like are constantly shown, or whenever 2 points, whenever Chihiro taps into the true realm, he always thinks about his dad when he's forging the sword. Like when he saw, I'm gonna assume the earliest time that he did it was when he fought Sojo and he broke the Cloud Gouger, because he imagines the forging of the blades again there, and then when he does it against Samori, he also imagines it, and you can see him sort of falling deeper because it's like the water, and he's like falling deeper into the true realm further, but. I imagine when Kunishige died, the three things that were shown was obviously his death, the three fish, and then the sword. So I imagine it's like, I wonder if Kunishige sort of, the fish sort of embodied the will of Kunishige. And because you also see that little fun bit at the beginning of the series where he's like talking to them and like they seek knowledge and shit like that. And he's like just having a little goofball moment with them.
Yeah, I think he might be able to. I mean, we don't know like what his sorcery is or if he had one, but I'm thinking something along like he kind of did with like how Minato put his chakra into the seal, and that was how they were able to like manifest. I think it might be somewhere he just imprinted his spirit energy into Enten, so that when Chihiro like fully like sinks in with it, he'll appear, and of course that would be his last battle.
Yeah.
We even saw it was kind of like almost like implied, right? Like with that last quick conflict Samura and Chihiro had when Samura actually changes his mind. He's like, oh, you know what? Like maybe the fact that Rokuhira made the Enten in the first place has something to do with maybe this was always Rokuhira's plan in the first place, right? So it's like it wasn't directly confirmed, but even Samura kind of like thinks about that. He goes, wow, you know what? Maybe this was your plan all along to stop the Shinichi or stop what you created. Yeah. And we even do kind of see that right before Rokuhira dies in the first chapter when he's kind of talking to Chihiro about, you have to be able to accept the fact that when you make blades, it's going to cause massive amounts of death. And maybe creating the Enten was his kind of repentance for that. He always knew that it was going to be important in some way. So yeah.
I wanted to cut in there with a question for everyone, kind of related to this, more so what Weeb was talking about with like the swordsmith stuff specifically. There is a theory circulating at the moment, which I want to get your opinions on, that people think using Suzaku, Cloud Gouger will be reforged. I am personally not a big fan of this idea, because I feel like it defeats the point. But someone did bring up a decent idea about, and initially at the beginning of the story, Chihiro kind of sets his eyes, or he sets his goal as being a swordsmith, a great swordsmith like his dad, and he kind of makes it very clear that he genuinely wants to do that, whereas now he's on a path that he's feeling he needs to do, but isn't what he initially wanted. So I am curious how you guys think him wanting to be a swordsmith will kind of play into his character and the story, and whether it would involve him crafting a new blade or a new weapon in the future, or even reforging Cloud Gouger, because people have been talking about that a lot. So I'd be interested to hear what you guys think.
I've always had the opinion that Samora can't use Suzaku on stuff that he hasn't cut. Like, if he cuts someone...
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
if he cuts someone and they've done damage, then he reverses the damage that that person who he's cut and they've done. So I feel like maybe... I mean, technically, by that train of thought, Chihiro cut Cloud Gouger, so he's cut Chihiro. So he could, potentially, but I've always just been under the impression, because then it would just be ridiculously fucking overpowered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like Hokuzono is kind of
example,
smart with that. Like, he's done the same thing with Hakuri and not just making him overpowered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if you look into, like, my biggest agreement for the Suzaku can only heal the stuff it's cut is when Suzaku is used on Chihiro, it doesn't take away the scars Hirohiko gave him or the scar he got from the Hishaku.
Yeah, that's true.
But also, there's also a flip side to that. When he remakes the hotel in the fight against Hirohiko and Chihiro, a lot of the damage to the hotel was seemingly done by Hirohiko. So there's a little, like, what exactly did he make? Is there still parts of it damaged? Did he just repair what he cut? But I'm pretty sure I'm on the side of Suzaku can only heal what's destroyed. It can't heal what's been done by other things.
And I think with, like, when it comes to Chihiro, reforging a sword or having any kind of, like, anything like that with making a sword or repairing it, I think him becoming a swordsmith is like a dream that is no longer possible. Like, he had to, like, surrender that dream for this revenge. It's like maybe at the end of the story he can become a regular swordsmith after it's all said and done. He destroys the blades. But I think this journey, like, he can't be a swordsmith until, like, he's done this path of revenge.
I haven't seen Naruto or Bleach, and so when you were talking about all that, I'm like,
okay, fair enough.
I haven't seen either or read either, so not really much input there. The theory is cool though, and I like that a lot.